Hello, welcome to the Inspired Design School of Fashion. In this video, I'll be showing us how to quickly gather our fabric. There are several ways to gather fabric, but there are only a few that is very fast. If you are using the regular machine, the black machine, our butterfly, those old manual machine, what you need to do is, the first one I will be showing us, press the lever to the lower part where you have the longest stitch. That is, so you're just going to run a basting stitch on your fabric at the edge of the fabric, like quarter or half an inch from the edge, depending on the sewing allowance. Make sure that you have a length of thread at the edge. Put down your presser foot, put down the needle, then increase the stitch length. If you're using machines like this, increase the stitch length to the highest you can go. This is 5, so I'll just run straight stitch down the edge of the fabric. I want to increase the speed. Okay, that should do. Then remove it, and you are not back stitching at the end or at the beginning, so you just remove and cut the thread. Then you pull the thread so that it will not remove on the other side. You take a pin, put a pin at the edge. Okay, and then roll the thread around the pin to lock it. Then pull the thread on the other side, and you have your gather. You can stretch it to whatever this length you want it to be, and that is that. But this kind of technique, it only works best when you are using soft fabric, maybe like chiffon or crepe. But when you have to pleat something a little bit thicker, for instance, it may even work on Ankara fabric. But if you have to do a pleat or gathers on, let's say, chinos or jean, it may be a little bit difficult. That brings us to the second and maybe the fastest, but this can only be done with machine that has a little bit of specialized skill, because the machine must have a zigzag stitch. So I'm going to be using cord. Place your cord on the fabric, place your needle on the cord, and make sure you set it very well, and put down your presser foot. Do a few lock stitch to hold down the cord. Then set your machine to a zigzag stitch. Increase the length and also the width of the zigzag stitch such that it crosses the cord. Then you begin to sew. Okay, I want to increase the length, so that I'll increase it to the highest, which is 7. Okay, you are not going to lock your stitch at the end. So what we'll have is a zigzag stitch over the cord. Then you can now pull to form your gathers. This works very well when you have to gather a very thick fabric. Now, not everybody has a machine with a zigzag stitch, and sometimes our small machine fails, like mine. Sometimes it doesn't do the long stitch. So that brings me to my own. Well, I like using this, especially when you just have to gather a few maybe for a dress or something. You're not doing something that is much. Okay, now in this part of the video, I'm going to show you what I consider to be the fastest and probably the easiest, especially if you don't have a machine that has a zigzag stitch. So this one, it works like when you are using a ruffler or a gathering foot, because as I am gathering my ruffles, I'm also attaching it to the fabric. So I'm going to attach this strip of fabric to this straight piece. It's obviously shorter, so I've placed my presser foot down. I'll do a few back stitch to hold it. This works on any kind of machine. Then I begin to gather. You can make it as tiny, depends on how long your fabric is and how tiny you want your gathers to be. Just, I don't know if you're getting the way I'm just pushing it, and then you are stitching to the fabric. So you do it bit by bit. I'm making it very tiny. Sometimes you may need to pull down your needle, lift up the presser and push the fabric inside so that there will be no gap. You are just pushing the fabric on your material, just pushing it with your finger. It's quite fast once you get the hang of it. Okay, just pushing it in. But you have to be careful and make sure that the gathers is not falling outside your stitch line. That is, you're making sure that your stitch goes over the gathers. I'm not paying close attention to this, so I won't be surprised if some are falling. So I just hope that you get my point. Just lock it, and you have, if you look at this closely now, you see that I have very tiny gathers, and it's as easy as that. So well, I've shown you a few tricks, and there are many more. Some use needle and thread, but that is when what you have to do is not much. Imagine you're making a wedding dress that has ruffle at the bottom, and you have to be using needle and thread. I'm sure you quit along the way. So this one is fast and very easy, even with a regular machine. All right, thank you. Bye. This is the Inspired Design School of Fashion. Thank you.